The Industrial Revolution, changing the world. Welcome, history enthusiasts. Today, we embark on a journey back in time to one of humanity's most transformative chapters, the Industrial Revolution. This was an era of profound change, where the ideas of progress and innovation collided with the realities of hardship and inequality. Through this exploration, we'll understand how the revolution reshaped the world, leaving behind a legacy that still influences us today. Let's unlock the key events, innovations, and consequences of the Industrial Revolution and discover how it truly changed the world. The Industrial Revolution emerged in Britain during the late 18th century, marking the beginning of a new age. At the heart of this transition was a shift from agrarian economies, where communities relied on manual farming and craftsmanship, to industrial societies powered by machines. But why Britain? The answers lie in Britain's natural resources, growing population, and inventive spirit. The abundance of coal and iron provided crucial materials for machines and infrastructure. At the same time, social and political stability created an ideal environment for entrepreneurs to experiment, invent, and invest. Trade from colonies also brought not only raw materials but wealth that could fund new ventures. Before long, this small island nation would become the cradle of major technological breakthroughs, sparking an industrial wave that would engulf the world. In the heart of the Industrial Revolution were groundbreaking technological innovations. Among these developments, the spinning jenny and the power loom revolutionized the textile industry, enabling mass production of fabric like never before. What was once woven painstakingly by hand in cottage industries was now created in bustling factories. Fueling these mills and factories was perhaps the most iconic invention of the era, the steam engine. Invented and refined by James Watt, the steam engine could now pump water from mines, drive machinery, and power locomotives. Railways, built with iron and steel, soon crisscrossed entire nations, shrinking distances and revolutionizing transport. Goods and people could travel farther, faster. Meanwhile, communication took a monumental leap forward with the telegraph, allowing information to be transmitted over great distances in mere moments. This connectivity not only bolstered industries, but also began to weave a closer, more interconnected world. Though the revolution began in Britain, its impact quickly spilled over into Europe and the United States in the early 19th century. Nations like Belgium, Germany, and France adapted British methods, kickstarting their own industrial revolutions. The United States, rich in resources and bolstered by waves of immigrants, also rapidly adopted industrial techniques. This spread showed the industrial model's global appeal. Countries realized that embracing these innovations was a pathway to economic strength. Systems of industrialization began linking nations together through trade, supply chains, and shared technologies. The groundwork for our modern global economy was being laid. As factories sprouted across nations, a profound shift occurred: urbanization. Rural communities saw massive migrations as individuals sought employment in manufacturing hubs. By the mid-19th century, cities like Manchester, Birmingham, and later Chicago and Pittsburgh became industrial giants. City life offered opportunities but came with immense challenges: overcrowded housing, poor sanitation, and the absence of safety regulations made urban life harsh for many. Still, these cities symbolized progress and the possibilities that industrialization promised. Daily life transformed too, as rigid factory schedules replaced the more fluid rhythms of agrarian work. People now lived by the clock, tied to the demands of machines and factory owners. This new way of life reshaped human relationships and sparked debates about work, leisure, and the value of human labor. Though factories became beacons of industrial success, the reality for workers often bordered on grim. Laborers toiled for long hours, -12 to 16 each day, under hazardous conditions. Machinery accidents were common, and safety precautions were nearly non-existent. Perhaps most shocking was the exploitation of vulnerable populations, like women and children. Children as young as 8 were employed in mines and textile factories, working in dangerous environments for meager wages. These hardships, however, sowed the seeds for change. Workers began to organize, forming unions to demand better wages, reduced hours, and safer conditions. These labor movements eventually brought societal reforms and shaped the policies we now take for granted, such as minimum wage laws and workplace safety standards. The Industrial Revolution also deepened economic and social divides. Wealth flowed to industrialists, inventors, and entrepreneurs, leaving a growing divide between the rich and the working class. Factory owners lived in luxury, while their workers endured poverty. Women, who were among the most exploited in the labor force, faced additional challenges. Despite their contributions to industrial growth, they were largely overlooked in leadership and paid far less than their male counterparts. Yet, industrialization also created pathways for some to rise economically. Entrepreneurs and skilled workers found opportunities for upward mobility in ways that were previously unimaginable, hinting at the dual-edged nature of industrial progress. While humanity was busy building its industrial future, the natural world bore the consequences. Factories spewed black smoke into the air, turning cities like London and Pittsburgh into polluted landscapes. Rivers, once sources of life, were contaminated by industrial runoff. Deforestation and resource extraction accelerated as economies demanded more raw materials: coal, timber, metals. Though these effects were not fully understood at the time, they laid the groundwork for the environmental challenges we face today, from climate change to biodiversity loss. As industrial nations grew in power, so did their demands for resources. This hunger led to increased colonial exploitation, as imperial powers seized control of territories rich in raw materials, from cotton in India to rubber in Southeast Asia. Colonized populations were often forced into labor systems or their lands stripped of wealth to fuel the fires of European industrial furnaces. While industrialization uplifted many cities, towns, and economies in Europe and America, it devastated societies in colonized regions. The Industrial Revolution, then, was both a marvel of human ingenuity and a story of exploitation, a narrative intertwined with both progress and suffering. Despite its challenges, the Industrial Revolution brought undeniable progress. It revolutionized production, drastically reducing the cost of goods and making products like textiles, furniture, and even books accessible to more people. Previously luxurious or rare items became commonplace. Advancements in transport, trains, steamboats, connected distant places, spurred trade, and helped ideas travel in ways they never had before. Innovations in medicine, engineering, and communication laid the foundation for modern science and technology. This revolution also heralded a shift in human potential. It demonstrated that new solutions to old problems, like food scarcity or energy production, were achievable through innovation. However, industrialization came with sacrifices. For many, the pursuit of wealth and progress overshadowed basic human rights. Laborers braved poor conditions, urban slums surged with inequality, and countless lives were cut short due to harsh factory environments. These harsh realities remind us of the need for balance. Progress must come with care, ensuring that people and the environment are not treated as mere resources to be expended. The impacts of the Industrial Revolution stretch far beyond its time. It was a springboard for later technological revolutions, from the age of electricity to today's digital era. The innovations of that era form the backbone of modern life, from assembly line manufacturing to the concept of rail and road networks. It also set the stage for human rights discussions, environmental awareness, and economic reforms that continue to evolve in the present day. As we analyze this remarkable era, we bring with us some of the lessons it left behind. True progress involves not just accelerating innovation, but ensuring ethical and equitable growth. Worker rights and environmental protections, hard-won during industrialization, remain relevant today as we navigate our own age of rapid technological change. The challenges of managing resources amid innovation, faced by industrial leaders then, mirror those faced by today's leaders in the age of artificial intelligence and automation. The Industrial Revolution was not just an era of machines and factories. It was a turning point in the story of humanity. It showed us how ideas, driven by creativity and ambition, could unlock new opportunities. But it also taught us the cost of unbalanced progress. Looking back at the Industrial Revolution offers us a chance to celebrate human ingenuity while acknowledging its limits. It forces us to ask how we, in our own time, can balance progress with care for people, our planet, and future generations. Join us in exploring this fascinating chapter of history, a time when the foundation for today's interconnected, industrialized, and rapidly advancing world was laid. By understanding the past, we can make more informed decisions for the future. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Where will history take us next?